Namaste everyone. This is Sagar sir from KANAL'S Academy, and we'll be taking today is Standard 8 Geography chapter number 3, which is Humidity and Clouds. A very interesting chapter, and it is made more interesting with the presentation that we have made. So, any doubts regarding this chapter, you all can ask in the comment section after seeing this video. This chapter is what about? It is about the clouds, it is about the rainfall, it is about the humidity, whatever, and the different types of the clouds that are present in the atmosphere, everything. So, standard 8 geography, chapter number 3, humidity and clouds. Now, to understand this, first of all, pay attention here. What is evaporation, what is condensation, and what is precipitation? Now, when you're talking about evaporation, evaporation is nothing but the conversion of water into water vapor, that is from the liquid state to the gaseous state. So water evaporate हुआ ground से because of sunlight, बराबर है. Then water जो है वो यहाँ से यहाँ गया, evaporate हुआ, evaporate होके वो ऊपर की तरफ जाएगा, clouds बनेगा, बराबर. clouds में हो रहा है condensation. Evaporation is nothing but the conversion of liquid into the gaseous state. Condensation is nothing but the reverse of evaporation, that is conversion of the gaseous state into the liquid state. And this liquid, when the atmosphere is not able to hold it, when the moisture exceeds a certain limit, at that time it starts precipitating. So this entire cycle goes on and on and on. In summer season, evaporation takes place, and when the saturation of the air is complete, what is saturation? We'll be seeing. When the saturation of the air is complete, that time condensation happens. When condensation is 100%, the air is not able to hold much more water vapor, more water droplets. Then precipitation happens. So this keeps on, happening at all times. It's a natural cycle. Let's see this. So I hope everybody is clear with evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Now, first thing, barabar aisa that the chapter is teaching about is the moisture. Okay, what do you mean by what? What do we mean by moisture? The words hot, moist, cool, etc. show the condition of the air. That the air is hot, the air is moist, the air is cool. Okay, these are the terms that you are using whatever to describe the air. They relate to the content of the moisture in the air. Moisture is the water vapor that is present in the air. Moisture in the air is invisible. You cannot see it, but you can feel it definitely. Like, in the interior areas, you feel the air is dry. When you're near the sea coast, you see that the air is, or you feel that this air is what? Air is, sticky. There is moisture present in the air. So that is the moisture in the air is invisible, but you can feel it definitely. But it is a major component of air which is taken into consideration while discussing the weather of any place. For precipitation to occur in any place, presence of the moisture in is very important. Okay, moisture कितना है एयर में, उसी से precipitation decide होगा. समझा? This is precipitation. What is precipitation? Perfectly, we'll come to that as well. Now, next is evaporation. Evaporation is a simple process of conversion of the water, liquid water, into gaseous water vapor. So it is conversion of a substance from the liquid state into the gaseous state. That is called as what? That is called as evaporation. So summer season में evaporation होता है, ocean से, sea से, lake से, because of the sunlight, the water gets evaporated and it goes into the atmosphere. Evaporation is the process of converting water into steam or water vapor, that is conversion from liquid state into the gaseous state. Because of the sun's heat, the water on the earth gets converted into water vapor. The process of evaporation is dependent on the dryness, temperature and the speed of the wind. कि एयर कितना ड्राई है, एयर का टेम्परेचर क्या है एंड स्पीड कितना है विंड का. If the air is dry and hot, the rate of evaporation increases. जितना सन का टेम्परेचर होगा, जितना एयर ड्राई होगा, जितना हॉट होगा, उतना डेफिनेटली इवेपोरेशन होगा. उतना बराबर ऐसा है, फटाफट वाटर विल मतलब evaporate. The process of evaporation continues even in dry air and cold air, but in cold air it will be slower. On the other hand, evaporation occurs very slowly in moist air. See, if the air is already moist, एयर में ऑलरेडी मॉइस्चर प्रेजेंट है, तो वहां पे इवेपोरेशन स्लो होगा. If the velocity and the temperature of the air is high, then evaporation occurs rapidly. अगर wind blow हो रहा है, जैसे आप चाय को ठंडा करते हो अपने saucer में, you blow air, so what is happening बराबर, it cools down. So that is the same concept used here, कि when the velocity of the wind is high, the temperature of the air is high, the evaporation takes place fast, rapidly is fast. If the wind is blowing slowly and the air is cooler, the evaporation occurs slowly. So evaporation depends upon what? Evaporation depends upon the temperature of the air, it depends upon the moisture content of the air, and it depends upon the velocity of the wind. अगर विंड का वेलोसिटी ज्यादा है, स्पीड ज्यादा है, तो इवेपोरेशन फटाफट होगा. हीट ज्यादा है तो इवेपोरेशन फटाफट होगा. एंड अगर एयर में मॉइस्चर ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंट है तो इवेपोरेशन स्लो होगा. सो रिमेंबर दीज फैक्टर्स फॉर इवेपोरेशन. नेक्स्ट, प्रेजेंस ऑफ ह्यूमिडिटी इन द एयर. वाटर वेपर कितना है मेरे एयर में, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज ह्यूमिडिटी इन सिंपल टर्म्स. द प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ वाटर वेपर इन द एयर इज कॉल्ड एज ह्यूमिडिटी. So this is liquid water getting converted into the gaseous droplets. The dryness or dampness of the air depends on the proportion of water vapor. Air can hold moisture in the specific quantity at specific temperature only. As air cools down, its moisture holding capacity reduces. Okay, now this is a very nice diagram, बराबर, that we have put. See here very nicely, बराबर ऐसा है. यहाँ पे देखिए बराबर टेम्परेचर, यहाँ पे what are the parameters that you have to see, just check. Okay, check the temperature here. यहाँ पे ये टेम्परेचर चेक कीजिए. This is the temperature. So temperature as it goes on dropping, the moisture holding capacity will go on shrinking. So मेरा एयर का टेम्परेचर जितना ज्यादा होगा उतना ज्यादा वो मॉइस्चर होल्ड कर सकेगा. जितना मेरे एयर का टेम्परेचर कम होगा उतना वो मॉइस्चर कम होल्ड कर सकेगा. सो दिस इज अ वेरी क्लियर एंड वेरी इजी कॉन्सेप्ट. नाउ रिमेंबर दिस. सी, now see, pay attention towards the temperature once again. You see the temperature is dropping, so the amount of moisture that it can hold, it goes on decreasing. ठीक है, once again I am showing you all. See, temperature reduces, amount of moisture holding capacity reduces. This implies that warmer air can hold more moisture. Simple as that. कि जितना air hot होगा, जितना temperature ज़्यादा होगा, more moisture it can hold. At a certain temperature, the moisture holding capacity of air becomes equal to the proportion of moisture present in it. See, there is an activity in your textbook which we have not put in the presentation. What is that activity? आप एक sponge लीजिए, उसमें पानी डालिए, ठीक है? You pour water on the sponge, it will hold water. You put more water, it will hold that much water. You put more water, there will be a point after which the moisture or the water will not be held by the sponge. Sponge will start releasing water. So there is a capacity, there is a limit of the sponge to hold water. That is called as saturation. और एक एग्जांपल मैं दे रहा हूं, बराबर मैं 1 घंटा बच्चे को सिखाऊंगा, बच्चे को समझेगा. मैं 2 घंटा सिखाऊंगा, समझेगा. 3 घंटा, 4 घंटा, 6 hours, if I am explaining you something, then nothing will go inside your brains. You will say, sir, बराबर मेरा कैपेसिटी आ गया सीखने का, I cannot learn more than this. इसको बोलते हैं saturation point, holding capacity. So when you're talking about what? When you're talking about the air as well, एयर का भी मॉइस्चर होल्ड करने का एक कैपेसिटी है. दैट एयर का होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी इज कॉल्ड एज सैचुरेशन. अगर मेरा एयर सैचुरेट हो जाएगा तो प्रेसिपिटेशन होगा. प्रेसिपिटेशन इज रेनफॉल, क्योंकि अब एयर मेरा वाटर ड्रॉपलेट होल्ड नहीं कर सकता है. दिस कंडीशन ऑफ द एयर इज कॉल्ड एज द सैचुरेशन ऑफ द एयर. सो सी हियर, बराबर ऐसे वेरी केयरफुली. टेम्परेचर व्हेन इट इज 5 डिग्री सेल्सियस, the moisture holding capacity in 1 cubic meter is 6.8 gram per meter cube. यही टेम्परेचर जब 32 हो जाता है, now it can hold much more water vapor, 33.8 ग्राम पर मीटर क्यूब. समझा? तो आप सैचुरेशन बोल रहे हो अगर कि इस एयर का सैचुरेशन क्या है, तो इस एयर का सैचुरेशन है 6.8 और इस एयर का सैचुरेशन है 33.8. क्यों? क्योंकि दोनों का टेम्परेचर अलग अलग है. जिसका टेम्परेचर लोअर है उसका सैचुरेशन लेवल फटाफट आएगा, बिकॉज इट कैन नॉट होल्ड मच मॉइस्चर और वाटर वेपर. जिसका टेम्परेचर ज्यादा है उसका मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी ज्यादा है, तो इट विल होल्ड मोर वाटर वेपर एंड दैट इज व्हाई उसका सैचुरेशन बाद में आएगा. आई होप आई एम वेरी क्लियर. When the proportion of the moisture in the air exceeds its vapor holding capacity, that is, अब मेरे air का saturation level आ गया, then precipitation will occur. Then it starts, dropping down all the things that it has in the form of rain or snow or hail. The moisture holding capacity of the air depends on its what? Depends on its temperature. So higher the temperature, higher is the holding capacity. We have learned earlier that as we go higher in the sky, the air becomes cooler. Now, यहाँ पे बराबर है जमीन पे ग्राउंड लेवल पे द टेम्परेचर इज हायर, सो उसका मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी ज्यादा है. यही मॉइस्चर ऊपर गया है टुवर्ड्स व्हाट? टुवर्ड्स द क्लाउड्स. अब टुवर्ड्स द क्लाउड्स जब वो जाएगा तो ऊपर टेम्परेचर इज लेस, क्योंकि ऊपर टेम्परेचर इज लेस, उसका मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी इज लेस, एंड बिकॉज उसका मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी इज लेस, सो डेफिनेटली एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इट्स का सैचुरेशन लेवल आ जाएगा. ओके We have learned earlier that as we go higher in the sky, the air becomes cooler. So as per this rule, as we go higher, the vapor holding capacity of the air will decrease. This graph will help you understand that. यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं आप, बराबर ऐसा है, यहाँ पे टेम्परेचर है. As the temperature is increasing, the moisture holding capacity is increasing. So what happens up? Temperature decreases. So come down. So as the temperature decreases, moisture holding capacity is also decreasing. Okay. Now what is absolute humidity? The amount of water vapor in 1 cubic meter of air is the absolute humidity of the air. For example, the absolute humidity of the air near the coastal areas is higher than air in the interior. Now, absolute humidity क्या होता है? Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the air. Absolute humidity is the mass of water vapor in a unit volume of air. के इतने volume में कितना मेरा humidity present है, that is water vapor present है, that is called as absolute humidity. So its formula is very simple. Mass of water vapor divided by the volume of air. That gives you the absolute humidity, जिसको short form में बोला जाता है AH. Absolute humidity is higher in the equatorial areas while it reduces as we move towards the poles. Equatorial areas are hot areas. Since they are hot areas, definitely, so the moisture holding capacity is more. Polar areas are cold areas, their moisture holding capacity is less. The distribution of land and water on earth and the seasons also affect absolute humidity. Now see here, north latitude, south latitude, एंड बीच में बराबर ऐसे आप देख सकते हैं इक्वेटर इज 0 डिग्री. सो 0 डिग्री पे बराबर स्पेसिफिक ह्यूमिडिटी ज्यादा है, दैट इज एट इक्वेटर. वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द टेम्परेचर हियर, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द लैटिट्यूड्स. सो 0 डिग्री लैटिट्यूड पे आप देख सकते हैं ह्यूमिडिटी होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी ज्यादा है, एंड बराबर टुवर्ड्स द पोल्स इट डिक्रीजेस. सी इट डिक्रीजेस वेरी मच टुवर्ड्स वेयर? टुवर्ड्स द पोल्स. सो इसका मतलब बराबर ऐसा है, क्योंकि इक्वेटोरियल एरियाज में मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी ज्यादा है, तो बराबर ऐसा उसको प्रेसिपिटेशन ऑकर करने को भी टाइम लगेगा. रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी. नाउ फर्स्ट हमने एब्सोल्यूट ह्यूमिडिटी देखा, नाउ कम्स द रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी. Amount of water vapor present in air can be expressed as a percentage of the amount needed for saturation at the same temperature and same volume. So see the formula, you will be able to understand. Amount of water vapor that is already present in air and amount of water vapor needed for saturation. Now let me give you an example. Okay, यहाँ पे आपको टेक्स्ट बुक में भी एग्जाम्पल देंगे, हमने भी एग्जाम्पल में भी एक एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ. देखो, इफ the air contains 30 grams per meter cube of water vapor, it already has that much, and its capacity is 40 grams per meter cube. Then the relative humidity will become 30, that is the amount of water vapor already present in air, divided by 40, that is the amount of water vapor needed for saturation, multiplied by 100. This is simple percentage calculation. Okay, this cancel, barabar. So it comes to how much? It comes to 75%. Okay, when you calculate this, you will come across barabar. So what is the relative humidity of this example? So the relative humidity of this example is 75%. It is expressed in percentage. So amount of water vapor changes according to the difference in temperature. Similarly, everything depends upon the temperature. टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा बराबर, सो द मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी बढ़ेगा, तो सैचुरेशन आने को टाइम लगेगा. सो डेफिनेटली दिस ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन टेम्परेचर. आई गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. जनरली रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी इज मोर इन द मॉर्निंग्स एंड द नाइट्स. नाउ सी वेरी गुड एग्जांपल, पे अटेंशन हियर. मेरा ये जो ब्लू है दैट इज द वाटर वेपर ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंट इन एयर, एंड द येलो इज वाटर वेपर रिक्वायर्ड टू सैचुरेट द एयर. सो इधर येलो एंड ब्लू आर ओवरलैपिंग. ओके, that means suppose बराबर ऐसा है, my moisture holding capacity for example was 5 gram per meter cube, and already the amount of water vapor present is 5 gram per meter cube, so it is 100%. 5 divided by 5, it is how much? 100%. समझो उसी चीज का टेम्परेचर बढ़ गया टू 20 डिग्री सेल्सियस. नाउ द मॉइस्चर होल्डिंग कैपेसिटी हैज इंक्रीज्ड. मॉइस्चर है कितना? सी द ब्लू इज नॉट चेंजिंग, द ब्लू सर्कल इज रिमेनिंग द सेम. So moisture holding capacity now has increased. So this blue, whatever, that is the amount of water vapor present in the air divided by the amount of water vapor needed to saturate the air. When you divide, it will be 53%. Same water vapor at a higher temperature when it is, whatever. So now the amount of water vapor required to saturate the air will be higher at 30 degrees Celsius. And that is why the relative humidity is only 28%. When the relative humidity is 100%, that time saturation takes place and that time the precipitation will occur. समझा? सो इधर दो चीजें हैं, या तो टेम्परेचर कम हो जाएगा तो मेरा प्रेसिपिटेशन होगा, या तो फिर मेरा वाटर वेपर बढ़ जाएगा तो मेरा सैचुरेशन आएगा. सो क्या हो रहा है अब हम देखेंगे एक दूसरे डायग्राम में और मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगा. In the afternoon, as the temperature increases, relative humidity it decreases. See here now. During the time in the morning when the sunrise is occurring, the temperature decreases, so relative humidity increases. At afternoon, when the temperature is more, relative humidity is less because the moisture holding capacity has increased. At sunset, barabar, now when the temperature is decreasing, again relative humidity is increasing. Near coastal areas, the relative humidity is more and so the air is moist because the moisture is more. Correct? In the coastal areas, therefore RH value is more. This is called as RH. In desert areas, relative humidity is less because desert areas temperature is high. So the amount of moisture present बराबर अगर ज्यादा भी होगा, but उनका capacity बहुत ज्यादा है hold करने का. That is its saturation point is at a higher level. Now we come across the last topic of the first part. बराबर humidity is the first part of the chapter, cloud is the second part of the chapter. So first part का बराबर ऐसा है, last जो है वो है condensation, densification and sublimation. You already know what is condensation. I showed you all a diagram. The process of changing of water vapor, that is from the gaseous state into water, that is liquid state, is called as condensation or densification. So see, where is condensation taking place? In the clouds, upper atmosphere. Where is the evaporation taking place? Near the ground, because यहाँ पे temperature ज़्यादा है. Also, the process of vapor changing into solid state is called as sublimation. Now, this diagram will also help you to understand. When the solid gets converted to liquid, it is called as melting. When the liquid is converted to gas, it is called as evaporating or vaporizing. When the gas is converted to liquid, it is called as condensation. And when the liquid is converted to solid, it is called as freezing. Now, there is one more that is called as subliming or sublimation. When the solid gets converted to liquid when the solid gets converted into gaseous state or gaseous state into solid state, it is called as subliming or sublimation. समझा? Gaseous to solid or solid to gaseous, that is called as sublimation. If the temperature of the air reduces, its vapor holding capacity reduces. We have seen that. When the relative humidity of the air becomes 100%, vapor starts condensing. At this time, the temperature of the air should be at dew point. What is a dew? Droplets will be formed. It implies that for condensation, temperature should be low and relative humidity should be high. In the free environment, condensation of the vapor in the air occurs around fine particles. Dust का particles हो गया, उसके आजू बाजू में water droplets बनने लगते हैं. Dew, frost and fog are the forms condensation at the ground level, while clouds are formed of condensation at the higher level. Dew. When the water is in the liquid state, it is called as dew. When the water is in the solid state, it is called as frost. And when the water is in the gaseous state, it is called as a fog. फॉग आपने एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा ड्यूरिंग द विंटर सीजन, कभी कभी वो नेशनल पार्क या कोई जहाँ पे ज्यादा ग्रीनरी है आप वहां पे जाते हो तो वहां पे धुंध हो जाता है, आपको आगे दिखाई नहीं देता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ फॉग, सो इट इज इन अ गैसियस स्टेट। सेकंड बराबर ऐसा इज ड्यू, ओस की बूंदे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं इनको, जैसे मतलब यू नो ठंडी के सीजन में आपके प्लांट्स के ऊपर वो पानी के बूंद आ जाते हैं, बराबर, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ frost, that is called as a dew, sorry, and last is frost, that is ice. So this is liquid state in the left hand side, so that is dew, right hand side आप देख सकते हैं solid बन गया है, so that is a frost, and this is a fog. So we have understood absolutely the basics of the first chapter, बराबर, first part of this chapter, बराबर ऐसा है. Now see here what is happening. यहाँ पे now this diagram is very important for you all to understand. See, यहाँ पे हो रहा है evaporation, that is conversion of the water from the liquid state to the gaseous state. ठीक है, यहां से मेरा मॉइस्चर जो है वो जा रहा है ऊपर, मेरा मॉइस्चर ऊपर जा रहा है ऊपर. अब ये समझने का ट्राई करो, ऊपर टेम्परेचर कम है, नीचे ग्राउंड में टेम्परेचर ज्यादा है. टेम्परेचर ज्यादा होगा तो रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी कम होगा, टेम्परेचर कम होगा तो रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी ज्यादा होगा, क्योंकि रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी ज्यादा होगा तो सैचुरेशन होगा. यहाँ पे क्या होगा, सैचुरेशन, सैचुरेशन से होगा प्रेसिपिटेशन, सो इवेपोरेशन, देन द वाटर गोज अप, कंडेंसेशन, यहाँ पे कंडेंसेशन होगा, कन्वर्जन ऑफ द वाटर फ्रॉम द गैसियस स्टेट टू द लिक्विड स्टेट, relative humidity will increase, saturation point will achieve, and then the raindrops will fall down, precipitation. ये जो मैंने अभी रिपीट किया है ना, ये जो बोला है मैंने, अगर आपको नहीं समझेगा तो फिर से एक बार सुनिए. ओके, नाउ सी दिस प्रॉपर्ली. once again I'll show you. See the steps: sunlight, vapor, clouds, evaporation, continuously this is water cycle. Now comes the clouds and the types of clouds. This is the easier topic. Clouds are a form of condensation of higher elevation. बराबर है ऐसा. This is condensation here. Condensation occurs around minute particles in the atmosphere. Condensed water or snow particles in the clouds are very fine and almost weightless, and so the clouds float in the air. That is the capacity of the air to hold that much of water. Okay. Now this diagram is also very good. आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे बराबर ऐसा है, सन सीट हुआ, यहाँ से इवेपोरेशन हुआ, राइजिंग एयर हुआ, यहाँ पे बराबर ऐसा है, वाटर ड्रॉपलेट्स आर कमिंग क्लोज टू ईच अदर, बराबर द टेम्परेचर इज लो हियर, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द टेम्परेचर इज लो हियर, बराबर डेफिनेटली द मॉइस्चर एंड ऑल इज गेटिंग कलेक्टेड इन द अपर एटमॉस्फियर. यहाँ पे सैचुरेशन होगा, रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी विल इंक्रीज, एंड देन द प्रेसिपिटेशन विल ऑकर. Okay, land and water get heated because of the heat of the sun. Air near the surface heats up, rises and becomes less dense. Hot air rises up. As it goes higher, the temperature of the air reduces and the moisture holding capacity of the air reduces. When the air goes up, temperature ऊपर कम है and moisture holding capacity कम है, बराबर. Relative humidity goes on increasing as the temperature goes on decreasing. The water vapor in the atmosphere turns into water, that is condensation takes place. This is the dew point level of the air, that is saturation takes place. The level of condensation is determined by the water vapor in the air, keeping in mind that the freezing point is also dependent on the altitude and the water vapor. So land surface, the droplets are rising upwards, warm air is rising, expanding and cooling, relative humidity increases, saturation occurs, dew point occurs, and condensation takes place, and then relative humidity increases, temperature decreases, and precipitation होएगा. Because of condensation, fine particles of ice and water float in the air at a greater height. They accumulate around dust particles in the air and become larger in size. It's the same thing. बराबर यहाँ पे water is accumulating, then evaporation is taking place. Then here बराबर ऐसा है, definitely condensation takes place. Then saturation takes place, relative humidity is increased, temperature has already decreased, barabar, and then precipitation will occur. Okay, so it is very, very clear we are with this diagram. Then accumulation together is called a cloud because of the vertical flow of the wind. Now see, this is vertical flow. Horizontal flow ऐसा होता है. Vertical flow from up and down to up. Like a kite which floats in the air, as it moves higher and higher, the clouds too float in the atmosphere because of the vertical flow. Clouds are found at different altitudes above the mean sea level. Clouds which form at greater altitudes are formed from very snow particles, fine snow particles. The process of evaporation and condensation occur consecutively in the clouds. Now see, that depends upon the temperature कि precipitation कैसे होगा, रेनफॉल होगा या स्नोफॉल होगा, ये अपर एटमॉस्फेयर के टेम्परेचर पे डिपेंड करता है और बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स हैं. That is not a part of this chapter. The part of this chapter is types of clouds. Specific type of clouds cause rainfall on the earth. Proportion of vapor is more near the surface of the earth. Same this diagram we have already seen. As we go higher away from the sea level, the amount of vapor decreases. Hence, the clouds at a lower altitude are larger in size, while the clouds at a higher altitude are smaller. So, नीचे बड़े बड़े clouds होते हैं, ऊपर छोटे छोटे clouds होते हैं. Now, clouds, this is a very important diagram. You can take a screenshot of this. बराबर इसमें आपको पूरा अच्छे से समझेगा. This diagram is very good. It is self-explanatory. कि lower level पे there is clouds like stratus, stratocumulus, cumulus. Then in the middle level it is nimbostratus, altostratus, altocumulus, and at the higher level it is cirrostratus, cirrus, and cirrocumulus. And in all the three levels there is a very, very, very big cloud barabar which causes heavy rainfall, that is cumulonimbus. Okay, so definitely ये देखो cirrus, cirrostratus and cirrocumulus height is from 7,000 to 14,000 meters बराबर. So ये देख रहे हैं आप higher atmosphere में है and they are very light. Altostratus and altocumulus, this is in the middle level, you can see 2,000 to 7,000 meters. Stratocumulus, stratus, nimbostratus less than 2,000 meters, and cumulus and cumulonimbus इनका कोई height नहीं है, ये नीचे से लेके ऊपर तक कहीं भी height पे हो सकते हैं. Take a screenshot, it will be very helpful for you all to understand this. Clouds are formed at the different altitudes in the atmosphere. This is again a very good diagram बराबर for explaining. आप देख सकते हैं cumulonimbus, nimbostratus बराबर ऐसा. ये देखो cirronimbus, cirrostratus, cirrus once again, altocumulus, altostratus, cumulus, stratocumulus, stratus. Middle level, sorry, lower level, middle level, higher level. Altitude, low, mid, and high. After observation, we can divide these clouds into three types on the basis of their altitude. The height from the base of these clouds is taken into consideration. If the clouds are at an altitude of 7,000 to 14,000 meters, then they are considered as very high clouds. If in between 2,000 to 7,000 meters, then it is called as medium clouds. And below 2,000, it is called as low clouds. High clouds, they are made of ice particles. They can be classified as cirrus, cirronimbus, and cirrostratus. ये है cirrus. Cirrus clouds are wispy, एकदम small, ऐसा हल्का हल्का, जैसे मतलब wisp है वैसा. Cirronimbus clouds look like a group of small waves, like you can see the waves in the sky. Cirrostratus are like bed sheet with wrinkles. They generally have a halo around them. See, this is a halo. The ring, angel के ऊपर जो ring होता है ना, उसको halo बोलते हैं. So this is the ring. So you can see it looks like a bed sheet with wrinkles. ये है cirrus, ये है cirrocumulus, और ये है cirrostratus. Now medium clouds, these include the altocumulus and altostratus. They are in the form of layers and have a wave-like structure. They are mostly white in color and have a gray shade. So this is altocumulus. Altostratus are not very thick. The sun can be seen through them as if like a milky glass. Okay, it is, you can see nicely from here and there, barabar aisa. It just forms a layer. That is altostratus. Low clouds, now there are different types in this. Definitely we have seen stratocumulus have layers. Their color is white to round. Round clusters of clouds can be here. This is a very cute cloud, barabar aisa hai, stratocumulus. Stratus clouds also has layers. They are ash colored and their base is uniform. See, small clouds covering the sky. Now, nimbostratus has thick layers. They are gray ash in color and cause continuous rainfall and even snowfall. So this is a cloud which is going to burst and you have rainfall. That is nimbostratus. Now comes the cumulus clouds. They are clouds formed extensively between 5,000 to 6,000 meters. The vertical flow of the air adds to the formation of these clouds. They are huge, dome shaped, and they are gray in color. Now these clouds do not have any specific height. They can be very huge as well. See, they are indication of a pleasant weather. Acha weather jab hota hai, they indicate that the vertical expanse of these clouds increases so much later on that they can turn into cumulonimbus clouds and can bring heavy rainfall. Now this is a cumulonimbus clouds. They are characteristic clouds which are indicators of thunderstorm. They are like huge mountains. They are dark in color and dense. There is thunder usually and lightning as well. They bring rain and may bring sometimes hailstones. What is hailstone will come in the last slide. The largest of these clouds bring rainfall accompanied with lightning. The top portion of this clouds has an anvil-like shape. Anvil is वो जो industrial application में देखो ये use होता है anvil ऐसा. The clouds have a positive charge at the upper end and negative charge at the lower end, and therefore electricity can pass through this cloud. The land below them is always negative charge. Due to the difference in charges, you have seen in science, potential difference create hota hai, so current electricity can pass. Electric charges are formed and the lightning occurs, lightning of the sky for a moment. The air around the lightning rises up because of the heat, and this causes a large thundering, lightning, and rainfall. See, lightning and thundering. As compared to other clouds, the raindrops of these clouds are larger because they move up and down a lot of times and accumulate more and more water. Drops become larger and larger and are unable to float in the clouds because of their weight. They fall in the form of rain. Sometimes the air in the clouds is very cold. As a result, these drops freeze and fall in the form of hail. We call them hailstones. कभी कभी ऐसा पत्थर जैसा स्नो जैसा गिरेगा पूरा आइस जैसा. What is happening? The water droplets are coming down, air makes them rises upwards. Air is coming down, water droplets are coming down, air makes them rises upwards. ऊपर वो इतना cool हो जाता है कि now they are in the solid state now, and then that drops down as ice. This is called as hailstone. It can be dangerous. बराबर ये देख सकते हैं आप. So, but chalo, this is the entire chapter of humidity and clouds. I hope you all have understood the entire chapter nicely. This is Sagar Kanal from KANAL'S Academy, thanking you. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section. If you have liked the video, understood the video, please like it, share it, and subscribe it. This is humidity and clouds. Thanks a lot. Read the textbook once. Thank you so much.